I'm a young guy in the prime of my life. I have almost everything in my life. I have a wonderful wife, Emily, who recently gave birth to our son, Liam, and relatives who are always ready to help. The only thing I'm consistently unlucky about is work. As I walked home, I thought about the next time I would tell Emily about my difficulties. She was always supportive, never a scandal, but I could see how hard it was for her, and I wished we didn't have to face financial difficulties. She deserved so much better, and I constantly felt guilty for letting her down. When I got home, I threw my bag on the floor, and instead of the promised paycheck, I told Emily about my termination. She only smiled and said, "It's okay," but I could see the light in her eyes fade. It was heartbreaking to see how hard she was trying not to give up for me. She gently placed her hand on mine and told me we would get through this together, but the quiet sadness in her gaze didn't go away. I immediately sat down at the computer to read the job ads. I'm a programmer by training, but with no experience, companies only offered me part-time work. I couldn't work part-time. Emily was on maternity leave, and I had a family to support. The thought of Liam growing up in uncertainty made me even more desperate. That evening, I called 10 companies and identified the 2 that seemed most suitable. I tried to stay hopeful and focused on the possibilities, but my doubts never left me. After gathering my thoughts, I decided to spend the rest of the evening with my family. Emily cooked my favorite meal, even though I knew she was probably tired. Watching her and Liam reminded me why I needed to succeed. Their smiles were my goal. The night was restless, and I woke up early, determined to change our circumstances. In the morning, I went straight to the interviews. The first company didn't suit me at all. They offered me a pittance and grueling conditions. It seemed like a waste of time to me, but I knew I had to keep trying. Then I arrived at the second company, where I was immediately struck by the huge, modern office with multiple floors. The atmosphere radiated professionalism and success, and I felt hope welling up inside me again. I was invited into the manager's office. Seated behind a long desk was a pretty middle-aged woman named Rachel, dressed in a formal suit and glasses. Her demeanor was confident and commanding. "Good afternoon," she said. "We're discussing a job opening for a computer programmer." What followed was a classic interview with standard questions. I tried to impress her by talking about my skills and drive to succeed. "Would you like tea or coffee?" asked Rachel with a polite smile. I politely declined. I wanted to get an answer about the job and get home to Emily. "You see, we really need a specialist in your field, but you don't have enough experience," she continued. Her tone was professional, but the words pierced to the core. "However, if you are willing to fulfill one of my requests, I will accept you." I had already lost all hope. The position was perfect, great pay and a perfect schedule. I hesitated, not understanding what she meant. "What is your request?" I asked cautiously. Rachel stood up, walked past me, closed the door, and lowered the blinds. Slowly, purposefully, she approached me. "You see, I'm a single woman. I need male attention, and not just that," she said, her voice soft yet assertive. I was taken aback, my eyes widening as much as they could. "I'm sorry, I think I misheard you," I stammered out, hoping I was misunderstood. "You didn't misshare. You are a very handsome man with excellent physical attributes. I need you," she said with a sly smile, leaving no room for ambiguity. Her boldness caught me off guard. Any other man might have been flattered or seduced, but I loved Emily and had always been loyal to her. The thought of betraying her was unbearable, and yet the weight of responsibility pressed down on me. This job could change our lives, and opportunities like this were rare. I couldn't bear the thought of going home and telling Emily again that I hadn't been hired. Gathering all my willpower, I gritted my teeth and said, "Yes." Rachel moved closer and tried to kiss me, but I turned my head away. Instead, I wrapped my arms around her waist, lifted her up, and placed her on the table, trying emotionally to stay as far away as possible. I got the job. The guilt was overwhelming, but I resolved to never let this moment define me. Of course, I never told Emily what had happened. That secret was going to die with me. I now have a successful career and my family is no longer struggling financially. The weight of my decision weighs on my mind, but every time I see Emily and Liam happy and secure, I remind myself why I did it. Life is rarely black and white, and I hope I made the right choice for them.